Hey everyone, it's Cassius, Tryptamine Astrology Readings, and we're finally past the great dissolving Grand Cross. The square, well, we're still kind of in it, but we're past the great peak of the Grand Cross, the new moon of destruction that I've been talking about for several months. And now we have some really interesting rejuvenating aspects to kind of take us out of this period of time, but at the same time, we still have Saturn square Neptune, and the nodes are still moving backwards to pretty soon square Saturn and can join Neptune. So until September, we still have that, and it will still feel dissolving and cold and confusing and crazy, but probably much better. It's hard to say if it will be, well, better or worse than now, because well, it's definitely going to be better, but it's kind of confusing because this is Saturn square Neptune is the most intense of these dissolving aspects, but Jupiter square Saturn and Jupiter opposition Neptune is now ending, so in that regard it's better. But today it's Monday, June 13th, beautiful person's birthday, and we have Uranus exactly conjunct the dwarf planet Eris now, for the first time since about 1930. Martin Luther King and many of the revolutionaries that were active in the 60s were born in the last Uranus-Pluto square, just like now, also with Uranus conjunct Eris in Aries. Interesting fact, I have South Node conjunct Eris in Aries, but I don't really know what Eris means yet. I think that Eris is some kind of deep, super crazy, possibly dark, possibly intuitive planet. If it does anything, I think it does something, but I think it would take a long time for us to figure it out. So Mercury is finally entering Gemini, but the highlight of today is the fact that Venus conjunct Sun in Gemini are sextile Uranus conjunct Eris, and Ceres is almost conjunct Uranus and Eris. And Ceres will continue moving to exactly conjoin Uranus and Eris, and maybe activate that Uranus conjunct Eris, by which time Mercury will be moving faster, and eventually Mercury will be all the way in Gemini, sextiling Uranus conjunct Ceres conjunct Uranus and Eris. So this is an extremely active, thinking, electric, energetic aspect that we desperately need. We need the energy and the thinking and the motivation and the creativity of Sun and Venus sextile Uranus. Sun and Venus in Gemini, a thinker air sign, making the positive aspect to Uranus, the body of all thought and technology and science and thinking and light bulb mental activity in Aries. So, we have a Yod today. Mars retrograde in Scorpio is now deep into Scorpio, 24 degrees, making a Yod with the Sun and Venus, Mars in Scorpio, and Uranus and Aries. And it's a pretty close together extended Yod today. The space directly in between the Sun and Venus is 24. 24 degrees is where Mars is, and of course Uranus is at 23. So we have a very interesting complex today. It's a very energetic thing that will very much help us get over the low energy, post-dissolving, destruction of something in our lives thing that we felt with, Jupiter square Saturn, Jupiter opposition Neptune, this whole thing. So, all this energy, we have the thinker, airy, curious, pondering, off-the-walls energy of mental thinker Gemini, and the planet of fellow air sign Aquarius, Uranus, making a positive aspect to Venus and Sun in Gemini. So we're communicating right now like the sign of communication, Gemini. Venus, of course, in the sky, defines our collective feeling of communication and social activity. Wherever Venus is in the sky, Venus defines the social climate of the day, much like Mercury or the Sun. And when Mercury gets deep into Gemini now, especially the hot spot of Gemini that is around 5 degrees Gemini, the bright stars in Gemini right there, we're going to feel much more awake. We're going to feel much more desiring social activity, desiring thinking and doing. It's going to be time to do things again now. And we've had a long time of everything going slow. So right now, it's time to do more. It's time to get back up. We're still going to be feeling some depression. Saturn is exactly square Neptune right now. And that is nothing to joke about. Saturn is a dark, cold, malefic, stone-solid, rock-solid, frugal, Capricorn-like thing. And even in positive aspects, which Saturn is not really making right now, Saturn is still malefic. Like, no matter how you look at it, Saturn is definitely malefic. I've tried to see Saturn in a positive light, and it's still pretty much malefic every time. Saturn makes the air cold, rock-solid, frugal, somber, and when you mix Saturn with Neptune in its own sign of Pisces squaring Saturn, you have a mix of things that is watery, flowing, confusing, chaotic, just like the end of last year. So this is the final stage of this great dissolving. And the final stage is the most intense aspect. But right now, we have a super energetic 3 planets in Gemini. Sun conjunct Venus, sextile Uranus in Gemini. See, that alone is a super mentally active, thinking, motivated aspect. This aspect will get you high on life. Uranus is very euphoric. I'm an Aquarius, of course, with Uranus in its own sign of Aquarius. And when I was born in 1996, the internet blew up. And I think that was to do with... See, Uranus is also... It defines the dynamic of our technological advancement. Wherever Uranus is in the sky in its 84-year cycle around the sun, Uranus defines our collective technological advancement in place of science and the arts and thinking. Uranus in Eris is a youthful, sporadic, confusing, technologically advanced period of time. Uranus in Eris is particularly crazy and erratic when we live in a post-industrial era of high technology. So, well, it's been a crazy Uranus in Eris, and the social media of this time is characteristic of fiery, youthful, exploding, sporadic Uranus in Eris. And of course, any time that planets make an aspect to Uranus, Venus and Sun sextile Uranus. Also keep in mind that Mars is adding fire, a ton of fire, to this thinker, high energy Venus and Sun sextile Eris. That's an aspect of fiery, rejuvenated desire to think and learn and be active in life. It's a yod. But with this closed circuit of thinker energy, we also have compulsively, this yod is attached to the Uranus square Pluto. That's the most important aspect of this whole decade, period. It last happened in the 1930s. Pluto in Capricorn. Pluto dissolves, purges, destroys and rebuilds, purifies, cleanses, and abruptly, destroys and rebuilds everything it touches. So our ideologies, our technological path and progression, our Uranus, our thinking, our ideology has been purged out by Pluto the last 4 years. Everything we believe has undergone a purging, destruction, and rebuilding. And in this time, where we're being rejuvenated from the great dissolving with this closed circuit of Sun conjunct Venus, sextile Uranus and Eris, all making this yod to slow-moving Mars in retrograde. This closed circuit of rejuvenation is attached to the purging of our ideologies. This closed circuit of rejuvenation that you should feel and appreciate to the fullest today and this week is solidifying the lessons of the dissolving of our ideologies and rebuilding of everything we thought we knew with Uranus square Pluto, and this whole cold, dark period of confusion of Jupiter square Saturn and Jupiter opposition Neptune and Saturn square Neptune. So we're gonna be okay, and everything's okay, and this is an amazing week today. So now I say bye-bye. Much love, peace. We'll be okay, and this is an amazing week. Much love. Peace.